Hi, good morning. Hope all of you are safe. Just to recall what we have discussed in our last two classes. We have discussed about linear functional. Now, what do you mean by a linear functional? Okay, hope everyone know the definition of a linear functional. Now we are going to start our next section, bounded linear functional. Now, the definition of a linear functional is let X be a normed space, linear space, okay. F belongs to X hash, that means F is a linear functional and it is called a bounded functional if there exists a capital C greater than 0 such that modulus of f of x less than or equal to C into norm of x, okay. Modulus of f of x less than or equal to C into norm of x, then we call f is a bounded functional. Now when we say f is a continuous functional, that is same as our definition of continuity. F is a continuous functional if xn converges to x implies f of xn converges to f of x. Okay, that is actually if norm f of xn minus f of x tends to 0 as norm of xn minus x tends to 0. Okay, here we can take mod as norm. Why? Linear functional, therefore that belongs to R or C. So we can define modulus, mod f of xn minus f of x tends to 0 as norm of xn minus x tends to 0. Okay. Note the set of all linear functional on x, bounded linear functional on x is x star. X is set of all linear functional, x star set of all bounded linear functional on x. Okay. Now we are going to prove this x star is a linear space. Okay. You take two elements f comma g belongs to x star. Okay. Then to prove this is a linear space, we have to prove f plus g belongs to x star. Now f belongs to, this implies there exists a some c1 greater than 0 such that modulus of f of x less than or equal to some c1 into norm of x. Okay, and g belongs to x star means there exists a c2 greater than 0 such that mod of g of x less than or equal to some c2 into norm of x. Okay, now what about f plus g? Consider f plus g. Now modulus of f plus g of x is equal to modulus of f of x plus g of x, and this is less than or equal to mod f of x plus mod g of x, triangle inequality, and this is less than or equal to c1 norm of x plus this is less than or equal to c2 norm of x, and this is equal to c1 plus c2 norm of x. Okay, this implies c1 plus c2 is some scalar, clearly that is greater than 0 as these are greater than 0. This implies there exists some c greater than 0 such that this is less than or equal to c into norm of x. This implies f plus g is a bounded function. This implies f plus g belongs to x star. X star. Okay, f plus g is a bounded linear functional. Now you take some constant. Here we already used c, so you can use some alpha. Let alpha be any scalar. Now what about alpha f of x? Modulus of alpha f of x is equal to alpha into f of x, and this is equal to mod alpha into mod f of x, and this is less than or equal to mod alpha into some c1 norm of x, and this is again a constant. Therefore alpha into f of x is less than or equal to some constant c into norm of x. This implies alpha f belongs to x star. You complete the proof, okay? And this implies our X star is a linear space. So set of all bounded functional on X is a linear space. Thus we get X star is a linear space. Okay, so we can define a norm on X star. We define norm on X star as follows. We define norm of F star. Okay, F norm star is equal to supremum of X not equal to 0 modulus of F of X by norm of X. And we have to verify whether this satisfies all the conditions of norm. So here supremum of X not equal to 0 norm of X, and in this case this is same as this is actually equal to supremum of here norm of X not equal to 0. Okay, sorry, X not equal to 0, and here this is equal to no set of 4 norm of X equal to 1 F of X, norm of F. And this is equal to supremum of norm of X equal to 1 mod F of X. Okay, so this is actually equal to, you can write supremum of modulus of F of X such that norm of X equal to 1, and this is actually equal to supremum of mod F of X by norm of X such that norm of X, sorry, X not equal to 0. Okay, here norm of F star is defined as supremum of norm of X equal to 1 modulus of F of X, and you just verify whether this set of all modulus of F of X such that norm of X equal to 1 is same as set of all F of X by norm of X, X not equal to 0. You verify whether these two sets are equal. These sets are equal, you just give the proof for equality. Okay, so now this is our definition. We have to verify whether this is a norm. Now what about the first condition? Norm of X greater than or equal to 0. Now what about norm of F? Clearly norm of F is greater than or equal to 0. Why? Modulus of F of X, as modulus of F of X is always greater than or equal to 0, this suprema value is always greater than or equal to 0. This implies norm of F is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, now what about norm of F equal to 0? Suppose norm of F equal to 0. This implies supremum of norm of X equal to 1 modulus of F of X is equal to 0. Okay, this is equal to 0 means supremum value is equal to 0. Supremum of F of X equal to 0. Clearly mod F of X is greater than or equal to 0, and the supremum value is also equal to 0. This implies F of X is equal to 0 for every X. Okay, this implies F is equal to 0. Thus we get norm of F equal to 0 implies F equal to 0. Why? We have mod F of X is always greater than or equal to 0. Okay, and here given supremum value is equal to 0. Okay, you can take this definition also. Okay, supremum value is equal to 0. That means our mod F of X equal to 0. Mod F of X equal to 0 for every X. This implies F of X equal to 0 for every X. This implies F equal to 0. Okay. Now second condition, consider some k be any scalar k into F star, and this is equal to supremum of norm of X equal to 1 modulus of k into F of X. K is a constant, and this is same as supremum of norm of X equal to 1 mod k F of X. But mod k is positive quantity, therefore this does not affect the supremum. This is same as mod k into supremum of norm of X equal to 1 mod F of X. Therefore, this is equal to mod k into norm of f. Okay, second condition also hold. Okay. Now we have to prove the triangle inequality. Now norm of f plus g star is equal to supremum of norm of x equal to 1 modulus of f of x plus g of x. But we know that supremum of a plus g b is equal to supremum of a plus supremum of b. Supremum of, okay. So this is actually less than or equal to supremum of norm of x plus 1 modulus of f of x plus modulus of g of x. Here we apply triangle inequality here. Okay, this is of the form supremum of a plus b, and this is less than or equal to supremum of a plus supremum of b. This is equal to, okay, equal to supremum of norm of x equal to 1 modulus of f of x plus supremum of norm of x equal to 1 modulus of g of x. Okay, and this is norm of f plus this is norm of g star. Thus we get norm of f plus g star is less than or equal to norm of f star plus norm of g star. This implies triangle inequality holds. This implies this definition norm satisfy. This definition of norm satisfies all the condition of norm. This implies this is a norm of f is equal to supremum of mod x is norm of x is equal norm of x equal to 1 modulus of f of x is a norm on x star. Okay, we have this one. Norm of f star, norm star of f is equal to supremum of x not equal to 0 modulus of f of x by norm of x, and clearly this value f of x by norm of x is always less than or equal to this supremum value, always less than or equal to supremum of x not equal to 0 mod f of x by norm of x. Okay, this is supremum value of collection. So each element in that collection is less than or equal to supremum value, and this is equal to norm star of f. Therefore, modulus of f of x by norm of x is less than or equal to norm star of f. Okay, this implies mod f of x is less than or equal to norm of f star norm of x. Okay, this is one of the most important result. Okay, usually we omit the notation star linear function and we define norm of f x is less than or equal to norm of f norm of x. Norm of f means norm on a bounded linear function. This is a bounded linear function. So we usually write like this. Mod f of x is less than or equal to norm of f into norm of x, where norm f is actually norm star of f and which is defined like this. Okay, this is very important result. Okay, you have to remember this always throughout entire syllabus. Okay, now we are going to prove one proposition, and the proposition says that if f is a bounded linear functional, then it is a if and only if f is a continuous functional. Okay, this is an if and only if statement. Okay, we have to prove if f is a bounded linear function, then it is a continuous function also. Also, if f is a continuous functional, then it is also a bounded functional. Suppose that f is a bounded functional. Okay, so f is a bounded functional means given there exists a c greater than 0 such that norm of x modulus of f of x less than or equal to some c into norm of x. Okay, and to prove f is a continuous function, it is enough to prove xn converges to x implies f of xn converges to f of x. That is, we have to prove modulus of f of xn minus f of x tends to 0 as norm of xn minus x tends to 0. This is what we have to prove. We have to prove this. Okay, now you take this modulus of f of xn minus f of x. Okay, clearly this is equal to, as f is a linear, this you can write as f of xn minus x. Okay, but we have already discussed mod f of x is less than or equal to norm of f into norm of x. Here norm of xn minus x. Therefore, as norm of xn minus x tends to 0, this term tends to 0. As norm of xn minus x tends to 0, modulus of f of xn minus f of x tends to 0. This implies f of xn converges to f of x. This implies f is a continuous functional. Here some mistake. Here you can write some x naught. Replace this by x naught. Okay. So xn converges to x naught implies f of xn converges to f of x naught. This implies f is a continuous function. Now we have to prove the converse part. Before that we have to prove this result. Okay. If a linear functional f is continuous at x equal to 0, then it is continuous at any x. Okay. Now what about the converse? If f is any continuous function, then clearly it is continuous at x is equal to 0. Okay, you try to prove this. If a linear function is continuous at x is equal to 0, then it is continuous at any x. Okay. Suppose this is continuous at x equal to 0, then it is continuous at x naught. I will give you a clue. At x is equal to 0 implies given epsilon greater than 0, there exists a delta greater than 0 such that modulus of f of x minus f of 0 less than epsilon whenever mod x minus 0 less than delta. Okay, here f is a linear functional, therefore f of 0 equal to 0. Therefore mod f of x less than epsilon whenever mod x less than delta. Using this, you try to prove given epsilon greater than 0, there exists a delta greater than 0 such that modulus of f of x minus f of x naught less than epsilon whenever mod x minus x naught less than delta. It is very easy to prove. You verify this. Okay. Now for the converse proof, we have to prove, suppose f is a continuous functional, then we have to prove f is continuous, f is a bounded functional. Okay. Suppose f is a continuous functional. That means f is continuous at every point of x. Clearly 0 is a point in x. Therefore, okay. Therefore, f is continuous at x equal to 0. Therefore, suppose there is a sequence that is converges to 0, then f of xn converges to 0. Okay, this we have this one. Okay. Now we have to prove f is a bounded functional. Suppose f is not bounded. Suppose f is not bounded. Now what is the definition of f bounded? Implies modulus of f, there exists a c greater than 0 such that modulus of f of x is less than c into norm of x. Okay, and f is not bounded means, or you can say f of x by norm of x is less than c. There exists a c greater than 0, this condition holds. Now f is not bounded means, for if you take any c, you can find some xc related to xc. For any c, there exists a xc such that modulus of f of xc by norm of xc is greater than c. I am repeating. F is bounded means this condition holds. There exists a c greater than 0. Okay, and this is less than c. Okay. Suppose f is not bounded. If f is bounded, this condition holds. If f is not bounded means If you take any c greater than 0, then you can find a xc such that this value is greater than c. Okay, greater than or equal to c. Okay. Now you choose some xc. Now choose yc as some xc by norm of xc. X is any number. Norm, you can evaluate a norm of xc. X is a normed space, therefore evaluate norm of xc. Now choose yc equal to xc by norm of xc. Then what about norm of yc? Norm of yc is 1. Norm of xc by norm of xc, that's equal to 1. So give for any c, you can find a yc such that norm of yc equal to 1 and modulus of f of yc greater than or equal to c. Okay. Therefore, if you choose any integer n, then you can find for yn I am denoting some xn such that modulus of f of xn is greater than or equal to n. Okay. For any n, you can find an xn such that modulus of f of xn is greater than or equal to n. This implies modulus of f of xn by n. F of xn by n is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, f is a linear function, so we can write like this. So modulus of f of xn by n is greater than or equal to 1. Okay. Now suppose this sequence xn converges to 0. Suppose this sequence xn converges to 0. Okay. Then if f is a continuous functional, f of xn converges to f of 0. Okay. And xn tends to 0 implies xn by n also tends to 0. Okay. So this condition holds means f of xn by n tends to f of 0 and that's equal to 0. But we get modulus of f of xn by n is always greater than or equal to 1. Therefore xn by n, f of xn by n never tends to 0 because modulus value is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, if this is tends to 0, then each value must be clearly less than 1. But here value is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, therefore this never converges to 0. That is a contradiction. Okay, by our continuity this must be tends to 0, but by this assumption we get this is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, therefore f must be bounded linear function. Therefore, if f is a continuous functional, then f is a bounded linear function on x. So, while writing the proof, you write, suppose f is not bounded, then for every n belongs to n, there exists a sequence xn in x such that norm of xn is equal to 1 and modulus of f of xn is greater than n. Okay, actually we take xn in place of yc, norm of yc equal to 1. Therefore, for every n belongs to n, there exists a xn belongs to x such that norm of xn equal to 1 and modulus of f of xn greater than 1, and finally that leads to a contradiction. Okay, now we are going to one remark, and the remark says if f is continuous, then kernel f is a closed subspace. Okay, now conversely, if f is any linear function such that kernel f is a closed subspace, then f is continuous. Okay, suppose f is continuous. Now what about the continuity, definition of continuity? If f is continuous implies xn converges to x implies f of xn converges to f of x. Okay, we have to prove kernel f is a closed subspace. Okay, so what we have to prove, let xn be a sequence in kernel f converging to some x, then we have to prove that x belongs to kernel f. It is very easy. Let xn be a sequence in kernel f such that xn converges to x. As f is a continuous linear functional, f of xn converges to f of x. Now xn belongs to kernel f, therefore each value of f of xn is 0. This implies clearly f of x is also equal to 0. This implies x belongs to kernel f. Okay. Now what about the, hope it is clear. Okay, each f of xn is a sequence in kernel f. We assume that xn converges to x. To prove kernel f is closed, we have to prove x belongs to kernel f. Okay, by continuity we can write f of xn converges to f of x, but each f of xn are 0. Therefore limit value also 0. Therefore f of x equal to 0. This implies x belongs to kernel f. Clear? Now converse part, suppose f is a linear functional and kernel f is a closed subspace, and we have to prove f is a continuous function. So to prove f is a continuous function, we have to prove, suppose xn converges to x, we have to prove f of xn converges to f of x. Okay. Today we have discussed the definition of a bounded linear functional in a linear space. Okay. Also we have defined the norm. Now what about the norm? Norm of f is equal to supremum of norm x not equal to 0 modulus of f of x by norm of x, or you can write supremum of norm of x equal to 1 modulus of f of x. Okay, and we have proved if f is a bounded linear function, then it is also a continuous function. Similarly, if f is a continuous linear function, then it is also a bounded linear function. In the next class, we will discuss bounded linear function in a Hilbert space. Okay.